The Boundary Keepers. Commander Ilara Way stood at the observation deck of the EDS Pathfinder, Earth's most advanced deep space vessel. The viewport offered a stunning panorama of stars, but her attention remained fixed on the holographic display hovering before her. The data streaming across it made no sense, defying all established cosmic navigation protocols. "Commander, we've triple-checked the readings," Lieutenant Cato said, his voice betraying a hint of unease. "There's definitely a boundary marker at the edge of our solar system. It's not natural." Ilara nodded, her expression neutral despite the alarm bells ringing in her mind. The Earth Defense Coalition had launched the Pathfinder 6 months ago to investigate anomalous readings at the edge of the heliosphere, where solar winds met interstellar space. What they'd found was far more disturbing than anticipated. "And you're certain it's not human technology?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "Impossible, Commander. The energy signature is unlike anything in our database. It's not a physical barrier, more like a warning system. A warning system that encompassed their entire solar system, like an invisible fence." The question was, who put it there, and why? 3 days later, they had their answer. The signal came without warning, a cascade of complex mathematical sequences translating into universal spatial coordinates. A meeting request. "They call themselves the Nelvarans," Dr. Hassan explained during the emergency briefing. The xenolinguist's eyes were bright with excitement. "From what we can decipher, they're an advanced species with a civilization spanning at least 300 star systems. And they want to talk?" General Okoye asked, skepticism evident in her tone. "Not exactly," Hassan replied. "They seem surprised, perhaps even alarmed, that we've detected their boundary markers. The message indicates they've been maintaining these markers for thousands of years, but they weren't expecting us to notice them for at least another century. So they've been watching us," Ilara said, the realization sending a chill down her spine. "That's the thing, Commander," Hassan continued. "They haven't. According to this message, they avoid our system entirely. The markers aren't to keep us in. They're to keep others out." The revelation hit the room like a physical force. Earth, for all its self-importance in humanity's mind, was apparently a restricted zone in galactic terms. The Nelvarans agreed to meet at a neutral space station orbiting Proxima Centauri. As the Pathfinder approached the designated coordinates, Ilara couldn't help but wonder what kind of beings they were about to encounter. The station itself answered some questions. It was clearly designed to accommodate multiple species, with environments ranging from methane-rich chambers to gravity wells that would crush a human instantly. "Remember the protocols," Ilara reminded her diplomatic team as they prepared to disembark. "No sudden movements, no unauthorized scanning, and above all, no weapons." The Nelvaran ambassador chose to meet them in a neutral environment, a chamber filled with standard oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere at 1 Earth gravity. Whether this was courtesy or intelligence gathering, Ilara couldn't be sure. When the doors slid open, Ilara's first thought was that the chamber was empty. Then the air before them shimmered, coalescing into a form that seemed to both absorb and emit light simultaneously. The Nelvaran had no solid body in the conventional sense. It existed as an organized field of energy that mimicked a vaguely bipedal shape. "Commander Way," the being spoke, its voice manifesting directly in their minds rather than through sound waves. "We welcome Earth's representatives, though we must confess, this meeting comes far earlier than our models predicted." Ilara stepped forward. "On behalf of the Earth Defense Coalition, I thank you for agreeing to this exchange. We have many questions about the boundary markers surrounding our system." The Nelvaran pulsed, a ripple of blue-green energy cascading through its form. "Yes, the boundaries. They are ancient, predating even our civilization's ascension to the stars. We merely maintain them now, as was agreed." "Agreed with whom?" Ilara asked. "With those who dwell alongside. The entities you share your world with." The diplomatic team exchanged confused glances, Dr. Hassan leaned forward. I'm afraid we don't understand. Earth has only one sentient species, humans. The Nelvaren's form flickered, a gesture Ilara interpreted as surprise or possibly amusement. That is not correct. Your world has been home to multiple consciousnesses since before your species walked upright. The others have been there all along. They exist adjacent to your reality, not quite in phase with your dimensional plane, but certainly not separate from it. That's impossible, Lieutenant Cato whispered. We would know if we shared Earth with another intelligent species. Would you? The Nelvaren drifted closer. Commander Wei, what do your people call those moments of inexplicable intuition? When knowledge comes without learning? When entire civilizations separated by oceans develop similar technologies simultaneously? When artists across your world capture the same visions without communication? Coincidence, Ilara said, though her certainty wavered. Collective unconscious. Parallel evolution. No, the Nelvaren stated simply. Communication. You have been in constant dialogue with the others since your earliest ancestors gazed at the stars. They have guided your development, though subtly. They find your species fascinating, your creativity, your resilience, your capacity for both destruction and compassion. General Okoye stepped forward. If these beings are so powerful and have been influencing humanity for millennia, why haven't they made themselves known? Why maintain this charade? Their concept of time and interaction differs fundamentally from yours. The Nelvaran explained. To them, your entire recorded history is but a moment. They communicate through patterns, evolutionary pressures, climatic shifts, astronomical alignments, the rise and fall of civilizations. That's not communication, Kaido objected. That's playing God. The Nelvaran pulsed again, perhaps by your definition, but it is why we and all other spacefaring civilizations avoid Earth, despite its ideal conditions. Even we, with all our advancement, dare not interfere with their work. They are to us what we would be to you, incomprehensibly ancient and powerful. Can we communicate with them directly? Ilara asked, her mind racing with implications. You already do, in ways you don't recognize. Your art, your music, your mathematics. These are conversations they understand. They respond through inspiration, through what you might call the collective unconscious of your species. The meeting continued for hours, the Nelvarans explaining how Earth had been marked as protected space by the others long before humans evolved. Most advanced species respected these boundaries out of a mixture of reverence and fear. The few who had ignored the warnings and attempted to study or colonize Earth in humanity's prehistoric past had encountered consequences. What kind of consequences? Dr. Hassan asked. The Nelvaran's form darkened momentarily. Their ships failed. Their navigation systems led them astray. Those who managed to land found their minds changed. They returned with new ideas, new technologies, but also new fears. Some never returned at all. So we're prisoners, General Okoye said bitterly, kept in a cosmic zoo for these entities' amusement. No, the Nelvaran corrected. You are collaborators, though unconsciously so. The others do not constrain your development. They enrich it. They have defended your world from external threats countless times throughout your history. As the Pathfinder prepared to return to Earth, Ilara made one final request. Is there any way we can make direct, conscious contact with these beings? The Nelvaran hesitated before responding. There is a place on your world where the dimensional barriers are thinnest. Your people have sensed this throughout your history, built monuments there, created myths about it. The others might respond if properly addressed. Where? Ilara pressed. You call it Uluru, the great red rock in your southern continent. Go there during the celestial alignment your astronomers have designated 23479, what you would call the next total solar eclipse visible from that location. Bring no weapons, no technology. Come with open minds and the willingness to hear. They may answer. As the Pathfinder broke orbit and set course for Earth, Ilara gazed out at the stars with new eyes. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they knew they weren't. And never had been, not even on their own planet. The real question was, what would happen now that they knew? The Guardians of Humanity. The Earth Defense Coalition headquarters in Geneva buzzed with unprecedented activity. 6 weeks had passed since the Pathfinder's return, and the world's governments remained in constant emergency sessions. Commander Ilara Way had delivered her report to increasingly higher levels of authority, watching the shock and disbelief ripple through humanity's leadership. "They think we're lying," General Okoye remarked as they exited yet another debriefing. "Or hallucinating. Or that the Nelvarans planted false information in our minds. Can you blame them?" Ilara replied, rubbing her temples. "We're telling them that Earth has been home to incomprehensibly powerful entities since before humans existed, and that these beings have been subtly guiding our development for millennia. It sounds like religious mythology, not a scientific report." The United Earth Council had voted to keep the information classified while they determined a response. But rumors had already begun spreading. Unusual phenomena reported worldwide, statistical anomalies in electronic systems, and most concerning, a marked increase in what the psychological division termed mass intuitive events. Thousands of people across the globe simultaneously creating art depicting similar imagery or reporting identical dreams. "They know we know," Dr. Hassan suggested during their private research sessions. "The others, they've sensed our awareness of them, and they're responding." The date of the solar eclipse at Uluru approached rapidly. Despite the Council's official position of caution, Ilara found herself summoned to a closed-door meeting with Council President Vargas. "We're authorizing your expedition," Vargas informed her, sliding a tablet across the table with the mission parameters. "Minimal team, no weapons, no advanced technology beyond basic life support and communication. If these entities have indeed been protecting Earth as the Nelvarans claim, we need to understand why. And if they've been manipulating us instead?" Ilara asked. Vargas' expression darkened. "That's why we need this contact, Commander. Humanity deserves to know whether we've been developing naturally or if we're someone else's experiment." The expedition team consisted of 5 members. Ilara as commander, Dr. Hassan for linguistics, Dr. Mbeki for xenobiology, Lieutenant Kaido for security oversight, and Dr. Chen, Earth's leading theoretical physicist. They arrived at Uluru 3 days before the eclipse, establishing the simple base camp and conducting preliminary readings. "There's definitely something unusual about this location," Dr. Chen confirmed, studying his handheld scanner. "Subtle gravitational anomalies, occasional quantum fluctuations that shouldn't be possible without specialized equipment. The indigenous people have considered this place sacred for over 60,000 years," Dr. Mbeki added. "Their oral traditions speak of dream time and ancestor spirits that shape reality. We've dismissed such accounts as mythology, but perhaps they were describing actual interactions with these entities. As the day of the eclipse approached, strange occurrences intensified. Team members reported unusually vivid dreams. Electronic equipment malfunctioned in patterns that Dr. Chen insisted contained mathematical sequences. Most striking was the wildlife behavior. Animals from hundreds of miles around began migrating toward Uluru, forming concentric circles around the site without approaching the team directly. "They're gathering for the event," Dr. Hassan whispered as they observed the phenomenon from their camp. "Just like we are." The morning of the eclipse dawned clear and still. Following the Nelvarans' instructions, they left all technology at their camp and approached the massive red monolith empty-handed. The air felt charged, like the moments before a thunderstorm. The animals watching from the distance remained eerily silent. "What exactly are we supposed to do?" Lieutenant Kaido asked as they reached the base of Uluru. "Be open," Ilara replied, repeating the Nelvarans' words. "Listen with more than our ears." The eclipse began right on schedule. As the moon's shadow crept across the sun, The temperature dropped and the light took on an otherworldly quality. When totality approached, Dr. Hassan gasped and pointed. Around Uluru, the air itself seemed to ripple and fold, as if reality were a fabric being gently manipulated by unseen hands. And then they appeared, not as physical beings, but as patterns of light and shadow that the human mind struggled to interpret. They existed in the spaces between moments. Their presence felt more than seen. Communication came not as words, but as concepts unfolding directly within their consciousness. We have waited for this moment. The thought manifested simultaneously in all 5 humans, accompanied by emotions too complex to name. "Who are you?" Ilara asked aloud, though she sensed they perceived her thoughts rather than her voice. "We are the custodians, the balancers. We have many names across many worlds." "Have you been controlling humanity's development?" Dr. Mbeki asked. "Not controlling. Nurturing. Protecting. You are unique among the cosmos." Images flooded their minds. Earth is seen through non-human perception, a nexus point of intersecting dimensional planes. Humanity appeared as brilliant webs of potential, each individual a node of creative possibility unlike anything else in the known universe. Most species evolve along predictable paths. Their development follows cosmic constants. Humanity defies prediction. You create. You imagine. You transform. This is precious beyond measure. The Nelvarans said you've been here since before us. Dr. Chen managed to say despite the overwhelming mental communication. Why Earth? This world exists at a confluence of realities, a rare place where multiple dimensional planes touch. We came here to study the phenomenon billions of your years ago. We stayed to witness the unlikely emergence of your kind. More images cascaded through their minds. Early hominids struggling against extinction events that should have ended their lineage. Subtle interventions that altered climate patterns just enough to preserve the fledgling species. Inspirations planted in developing brains that led to tool use, fire, agriculture, art. You've been helping us, Ilara realized. Yes, and you have been helping us. Together, we form a symbiosis unlike any other in the cosmos. Your creativity feeds our understanding. Our guidance preserves your potential. Lieutenant Kato fought through his awe to ask the crucial question. Are we prisoners? Are we free to leave Earth and expand into the galaxy? A sensation like gentle amusement washed over them. You have always been free. The boundaries were never to contain you, but to protect you until you were ready. That time approaches faster than we anticipated. Dr. Hassan stepped forward, her face streaked with tears of understanding. Ready for what? To join us as conscious partners, to become aware of the greater cosmos and your role within it. Humanity's unique perspective is needed. There are challenges coming that neither we nor any known species can face alone. The entities shared glimpses of cosmic threats, entropic cascades that threatened multidimensional stability, predatory intelligences that consumed developing civilizations, and most alarmingly, evidence that the universe itself was developing a form of malignant consciousness in certain regions. Why us? Ilara whispered. We're violent, divided, primitive compared to species like the Neltharans. Asterisk, because you dream. Because you create rather than merely discover.